My friends, it's Miss Shields, and today we are going to read the book A Squiggly Story. But before we read, I want to tell you a little bit about what you're going to learn how to do. So, as we read this book, we're going to read it for 3 days. And when we read, you are going to learn how to talk about the characters of a story, the setting of a story, and the plot, what happens at the beginning, middle, and end of a story. You should have already watched the first video talking a little bit about what are characters, what are setting, and what is plot, what is the beginning, middle, and end. So we'll practice with those more during the week as we read A Squiggly Story. So I want to remind you that each book has a front cover and a back cover. On the front cover, we have the title, A Squiggly Story. We might have a picture too, and we have the name of the author and the illustrator. So the author is Andrew Larson, and the illustrator is Mike Lowry. The author is the person who writes the words in the books. When you write words in a book, you're becoming an author. When you draw pictures to go along with the words, you're becoming an illustrator. So we are going to practice being authors and illustrators of our own books so we can learn how to read and to write. So if you look at the cover, you can think, who is this book about? We might think that this book is about this little boy. I want you to think, what is he doing? And when we read the story, we're going to find out all about him. So, A Squiggly Story. My sister loves to read. Big words and little words, page after page, word after word. My sister loves to write. Big words and little words, page after page, word after word. So I want you to look. Where are they? Where do you think she is? Sometimes I pretend I can write too. You can see he has letters, he has words, big letters and little letters. Swirl after swirl. This is a swirl when it goes kind of like this. It looks a little bit like a circle. And squiggle after squiggle. Here we've got some squiggly lines that go. Squiggly means it goes up and down. What are you doing? I asked one day while we're sitting at the kitchen table. I want you to stop and think. Where are they? He just said, what are you doing? I asked one day while we're sitting at the kitchen table. Who's asking that question? She says, I'm writing a story. I wish I could write a story. You can. It's easy. How? I know my letters, but I don't know many words. Maybe you know some letters. Maybe you know some words. Write what you know. Every story starts with a single word, and every word starts with a single letter. Why don't you start there with a letter? So I get out my crayons and pencils and a pad of paper, and I start to write. I start with a single letter. It's an easy letter. Do you know that letter? That's me. It's the letter I. Who wrote that? That's a good beginning. Now what? What's going to happen? The sister wants to know what's going to happen next. How should I know? It's your story. You're the boss. So he's becoming an author. He's going to write the story. I what? I'm stuck. What happens in my story? I draw a circle. It's a soccer ball. Then I write another letter. It's you, I say to my sister. I'm playing soccer with you. Great. Where are we playing soccer? What is the setting? Where is it going to be? Maybe we're playing on the beach, I suggest. We've never played soccer on the beach. So I do a bunch of dots for the sand on the beach. Then I make a bunch of V's. Big V's and little V's. Wave after wave in the ocean. Now what? Well, what do you mean? Do you have a beginning? Now we're in the middle of the story. Something else has to happen so we can get to the end. So right now, are we in the beginning, the middle, or the end of our story as we read this book? I want you to stop and think, what happened first? What happens right now? I'm stuck again. I start doodling. I doodle another V, but this time I doodle it upside down. Doodle means that you draw. You make little drawings. Oh no! It's a shark! You can see his story. It's getting closer and closer. I flip the page to get away from the shark. Whew. The next day, I bring my story to school. It's my turn for show and tell. That means I get to sit in Mrs. Singh's chair. Everyone else sits on the carpet, ready to listen. So where are they now? Who is in the picture? The people in the picture are the characters. Who is the character that we're looking at right now? Last night, I started to write a story. It's sort of squiggly, but here it goes. Once upon a time, there was a brother and a sister, and they loved to play soccer. You can see his picture right here. She's saying hi. One day, they had an idea. They decided to play soccer on the beach. So they went to the beach and played soccer. You can see they're playing soccer on the beach. Then they noticed something coming towards them in the water. What do you think it is? It was a shark, a real live shark. It was getting closer and closer, and it was getting bigger and bigger. It's a little scary. And that's as far as I got. That's wonderful, says Mrs. Singh. What happens next? What about the shark? What about the brother and the sister? I don't know. I'm stuck. Class, does anyone have an idea? Jake waves his hand in the air. I do. Maybe you have an idea about what happens next? Maybe one of them kicks the ball and it hits the shark in the head. Ow! Then maybe the shark bites the ball with his big pointy shark teeth. Aaliyah offers another idea. What if the shark's name is Squiggles? What if Squiggles is a vampire shark? What if she invites the brother and sister to ride on her back? And what if they become a vampire family and live forever? Vampires can't swim. Everyone knows that. Of course they can swim. Vampires can do anything. But it's my story, and I don't want vampires in my story. If you're the author, you get to decide the story. If I was writing a story, I'd have lots of vampires. That's what she says. Then you should write one. But I like yours. That night after dinner, I sit down beside my sister. Her face is buried in a book. So look, where are they now? I've been thinking about my story all day, and I still don't know how to end it. Remember, you're the author. You know that word. The author means the person who writes the story. She says, without looking up, you can do whatever you want. When you're the author, you get to make your story whatever you want. So I get my pencil, and I draw. I start with a bunch of stars. Then I add a few exclamation marks. My sister told me exclamation marks make things exciting, and she is right. It is exciting. I add a couple of slanty lines. What do you think it's going to be? What's going on? Asks my sister, looking up from her book. It's nighttime. The stars are out. The shark has gone away and we decide to take a walk on the beach. That's when we discover this giant rocket ship. That sounds cool. Then what happens? What do you think's gonna happen? We hear a voice. It's counting down. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off! Not yet, I say, adding one more squiggle. Just before the rocket blasts off, we spy a Martian. You can see the Martian. A Martian's like an alien. We spy a Martian looking out through a window. The Martian invites us to climb aboard. That's a great ending. Now I have an idea for my next story. It's going to be about a boy who climbs aboard a rocket ship and takes a trip to Mars. And I think I know just how to begin. How do you think he's going to begin? And that's the end. So, my friends, I hope that you loved this story. And I want you to think about who's in the story, where was the story, and what happened first, what happened next, and what happened at the very end of the story. If you need help remembering, you can watch the video again. Bye, my friends.